RPM Trey Vietnam in this bitch. What up? Hello, good morning, all that good shit. What's going on, y'all? Hey, on game. I really be putting it down for what it is that I got going on. Not only am I unique in what I do, I am sincere as fuck. I really do believe this is my calling in life. I'm not a big promoter of the idea of psychic abilities or people being clairvoyant and all that shit. I think some of that shit might be real, might be possible, because I feel like without trying, indirectly and almost unnoticed by me as it's happening, I believe that I exhibit some of those things, man. I think certain things that have happened early on in my life, in my childhood, in my adolescence, and as I'm growing up, all of this shit is pointing me to who I am today without me realizing that that is what has happened. That doesn't mean that there's some weird spiritual handling of my life or my purpose, but I don't know, maybe, because something feels weird. Something feels weird in a good way about who the fuck I am and what the fuck I got going on and why I feel and think the way I do. It's all coming from some place that seems that no matter what I have done throughout my life keeps pushing me in the right direction at all times, directly or indirectly, into this lane that I found myself in, man. It's a beautiful thing, and I encourage everyone to look inside themselves, do their shadow work for damn sure, realize who you are in your totality of who you are. You can't just suppress the things that you think society or humanity might recoil at, because those things are still you. You're just doing a good job at hiding it or stifling these things inside of you, but that is still who you are. And the best way for you to find the balance and the peace inside yourself is to address all of the good and bad things about yourself and then apply them in a certain way. I've always been a loving person, but I've always been the kind of person who has been aware of the possibility of me having to fight for my own safety and for my own freedom. I've just always been like that. I'm the oldest of my mom's 4 kids, so I got that big brother thing going on, and all of that, man, including all my experiences in life, have tied me very securely to a certain frame of mind of thinking when it comes to self-defense, man. It's always been a part of me, and I think that it's important. I think it is a life or death situation, and we all do need to address these things. So now that I got that out the way, in regards to how natural I believe says to myself as it is to you, it should be, because I am no better than you. My life doesn't deserve any more protection or guidance or respect to it than what yours does. And I think the best way to recognize your life, how powerful it is, how rare you really are, never to be repeated again. You are a special person, man, and you have to respect that enough to say that you will defend your life and the life of other innocent people from harm in any way you can, because the methods used by the bad guys has to be used against them. You got to speak their language when you want to stop them. And you know that this is true, because the honorable law enforcement society and this honorable government that you motherfuckers love so much, with your voting and your trust and your gov love and all that bullshit, when you're doing all of that, you are actually paying respect to something that says wholeheartedly what it is that I'm saying. Really, we agree on this. They just happen to be the bad guys. But what it is that you're willing to stand up for, if you believe that this is the honorable, righteous thing to do, you will also bring your gun with you, because you're going to talk that shit, and then you will shoot some shit if you have to, because you're not fucking playing with what it is that you got going on. Government says that they always bring the gun, and so do I, man. And this shit is just important. Now, whether you conceal carry or openly carry, let's talk about that real quick, because what I want you guys to do in regards to this topic is to really focus on the objective truths. Okay, all of the feelings and emotions, you gotta wipe that shit aside, because feelings and emotions can have one person laughing at a joke and then another person being offended by the exact same joke. So there's no objective truth in whether something is funny or not. All that loosey goosey bullshit like that, we cannot apply that to something so serious when we're talking about gun ownership, natural rights, and government business. Period. Once you address this and you realize that wholeheartedly, without any influence from anybody else, no constitution or nothing, I have a right to protect the life that I'm in. I want to ponder my existence. I want to be left alone to do that. If I do not deserve harm, I get to curb that attempt to harm me, and I get to use anything at all in the state of desperation. When we are talking about my life, I get to use whatever the fuck I get my hands on to do that if I'm acting in defense. Period. They instantly sound fucking retarded to me. If you're saying, well, you don't get to protect your life with anything. Yes, the fuck I do. Yes, I do, man. And if I don't have the right to do that, who the fuck has a right to tell me not to, and where did they get that from if I don't have a right to protect my life? This is simple shit. Simple, basic shit, right? Once you address that basic shit, me carrying a gun that you can see doesn't make me more dangerous, period. You're a retard if you think that. You're out of your fucking mind. I already have it, and if I conceal it, I still have it on me, in your presence. You seeing it doesn't make me more dangerous. It just makes you face the fact that people are armed out here, and then you got to choose how you feel about that. Y'all, people that don't like my open carry demos, or the fact that I open carry a pistol every day, all day, every day. Your issue is not in the gun ownership. If it is, then you'd have to just voice all of that. Some people tend to say that they understand that people can carry guns, they just don't know why I would do it openly. There's a few things behind this. Number one, I can't make a statement about gun ownership if you cannot see my gun. Now, if they're making a statement about gun ownership, if it's important to me, then I have to go all out and make that clear. Make it a topic of discussion out in public, which I do. I open carry my pistol all the time, and I get very similar reactions sometimes when I'm openly carrying my pistol. People will walk up to me, ask me the question, shake my hand, declare their adoration for what it is that I'm doing, and even how they want to do it too. And people have come up to me and said, look, I got a firearm on me because of you. I saw you last year. I went and did my shit. That shit happens all of the fucking time. My camera don't catch that. I'm just in a grocery store doing my thing, but people walk up to me and say this gas station, grocery store, whatever, man. But people think that concealed carry inherently is a tactical disadvantage, and that people who do that are not only just trying to show off, which is fucking wrong of y'all to say that shit. This is retarded. That I'm also giving them my position, and it makes me more vulnerable. I will be the first target. Let's comb through this shit a little bit, cause people who rock with the gun shit, who also says that openly carrying is dangerous, tactically a bad idea, and I get my position up. Y'all are sounding like the gun haters with your fear that you focus in on a narrow possibility of something, and then you use all of that to be the reason why you will not open carry. You sound like you're scared. That's weird to me. You just sound scared to me, bro. Because the chances that, okay, let's say for example, I'm in a gas station and somebody comes in there to rob the place, and I'm openly carrying a pistol. There's a few things that you need to consider that people try to discount because they focus in on the fear that they see behind the idea of openly carrying a pistol, and then they stay there without considering all of these other things that makes way more sense than the examples y'all give just driving y'all fear. When this guy walks into a gas station to rob it, and I'm in there openly carrying, he's going to have tunnel vision. He realizes what it is that he come in there for, and he's trying to be focused. If he does not see me right away with the side of my hip that has my pistol on it facing him so that he can see it, I will be openly carrying in a fucking public place while it's being fucking robbed, and the robber does not know that I have a gun. He's got to see me. I got to be in the store where he can see me, and my hip that has my gun has to be turned so he can see that, and he has to actually notice it when he's walking in there and not be tunnel vision on the cash register, because that's what he came in there for. Y'all thinking that somebody robbing the fucking place is going to come in there with James Bond like awareness of the environment? You guys are out of your fucking mind. No, the fuck they're not. This guy's going to be out of his fucking mind, his own mind, and trying to maintain his composure while he throws his fucking life away. They don't see everything. The police don't see everything. You know how many times I'm in a grocery store in line behind somebody? The entire time they look back at me, might even nod and say hi. If I got my neck and hip to them and they don't see my other side, they don't even realize they standing right next to a guy who is openly carrying a fucking pistol. They have no idea. How many times I had people walk past me or whatever, nod and kind of look me over, and they have to do a double take because they almost missed it, but they think they caught a glimpse of my hip and they can see a pistol on it. And this motherfucker's passed me in the store a few times. Maybe even passed his card off to me on his way out. People look right at me and don't even notice. So you got to get over this idea that the robber is actually going to be aware of me openly carrying just because I am openly carrying. It's just not true. It's just not true. People don't always notice you. The fucking pistol's not that big. You're on my blind side. You don't see me. You had no idea that entire time, actually. I watched the shit happen in public over and over again every day. It's not as obvious as you would think that it would be or that it should be. But people don't have that situational awareness like that. But you gain better understanding of situational awareness when you yourself carry a gun, and then you have to start looking around. Because you want to see where the danger is. If other people have firearms, you want to see them too. And when other people have firearms and you carry a firearm, you start noticing their mannerisms, their behavior, their whole demeanor. How they move completely. And when you see that they are moving in a aware but cautious, friendly, I'm just trying to be cool kind of manner, you can see yourself in their mannerisms, and then you recognize who they are. Period. The fear goes away, because then you start seeing yourself in these other people that are carrying. You don't see other people that are carrying, then all of a sudden you get scared. Once you start carrying a gun, you instantly start accepting seeing it from other people. Number one, you can tell when they're doing what you're doing. Number two, what you know for damn sure is, if they mean you harm, you're armed to fucking do them harm right back if that's what the fuck they on. And then now you have that comfort to be like, well, at least that if this nigga's on some bullshit, I'm gonna get on that bullshit with him. Then you know that. You know you have a fighting chance. So arming yourself is the best way to find yourself in a comfortable disposition about gun ownership. When you openly carry the gun and you just make people address you about that shit, and then you address other people about the gun ownership, it does something to you that concealed carry does not do. Concealed carry completely defeats all of the camaraderie, the understanding, and all of that. You lose a lot when you conceal carry. The discussion goes away. The awareness goes away. You know what else goes away? Any possibility that you could be deterring something from happening. So, let's say you conceal carry. You're in a store and a guy's going to fucking rob the place. You're in a position that if you were open carrying, he would see you. But you're concealed carry, so he looks right at you, maybe even looks you up and down, and he decides that he's going to walk to that counter and draw his gun. Because you are of no match to him. You better get the fuck out of the way before you get fucked up. That's what he is thinking. What does he do? He has no deterrent. He moves forward to rob the place, and now you have, what up, armed fishman? I'm glad you're here, bro. So if you're concealed carrying and you're in a public place, the guy walks in, he has no reason for you to consider you a deterrent from him robbing the place. He'll just rob the place because you're concealed carrying, and you can't even make it aware that he is taking a bigger risk than what he assumed he was. You can't even show that to the guy who was robbing this fucking place until you start shooting at him. So now you had no deterrent. he might not even want to fucking die for what it was that he was trying to do. He just wanted to come bully some shit so he can go home with the loot. That's all he wanted. And now, the only thing that settles the issue is you drawing a concealed weapon and then shooting and possibly killing the robber. To me, that's tactically good for the guy concealing. Okay, cool. Nobody know you were carrying a gun. Whoop-de-doo. Good for you, Mr. Sneaky Ass. But now look at what you've done. You allowed a situation to go to the point of no return because this guy that did not want to die to rob this place now has to die to rob this place because he thought he was going to be okay because no one was in here to stop him because you were concealed carry. If you think concealed carry is a tactical advantage for you and it has no other moral advantages, or no moral cons to it, there is no moral advantage to openly carrying, you're out of your mind. You're just not paying attention. You're just not being real. You're right. It is. It is. Green Box Media. It's really up to the person. It's really up to the person if you want to open carry or conceal carry. I think for the message that I have when I open carry, I have to open carry and take all of the risks that anybody wants to attach to that. I like open carrying because if there's going to be a problem, somebody wants to be violent where I'm at, I want to be able to let them know that another step into their bullshit is going to result in me doing something to them if they want to go there. I like it just having the full disclosure to let a motherfucker know. I'm in this fucking place and I'm a defender and I'm armed, bro. How far you want to go? That way, I have a possibility to deter this man, first of all. Secondly, if he continues, if the bullshit ensues, I will have a standing argument in court that'll make it very obvious that I might not even fucking be charged on the scene. I won't even get handcuffs on the scene, bruh. If a man does something that's obviously the initiation of the violence, and then I have to get on his ass by using my firearm in defense of what he's trying to do to me or to somebody else, it's going to be obvious that whoever I had to put down with my firearm was a fucking psycho because it was obvious that I had a gun and he didn't care. That's going to help clear me. That I openly carried, I make it obviously fucking aware to everybody around that I had a firearm, that if I had to use it in defense, it's going to help my case that I openly fucking carry a gun. Why would this guy continue to try to fight me? Why would this guy reach for me, grab at me, take a swing at me? His friend's running up now. Now his friend is running towards me. All of this shit will help your case in a self-defense if you can honestly say, I was openly carrying a gun. Why the fuck did everybody still bugging? Why did he continue to rob this fucking place? Why did he continue to try to rob me or whatever the case may be? But openly carrying a firearm has some benefits to it. To me, I think it is moral for me to give a guy some kind of an opportunity to realize what it is that he is dealing with if he wants to be an asshole in public with a gun, because he can see that I am armed and now he's got a fucking choice to make. There's something about that to me that seems fair. It seems fair. And when you combine that with the message that I have as far as my open carry demonstrations and shit, bro, I have to open carry. If you want to conceal carry, then go ahead and do that, bro. And that's okay. But I like putting the shit out there in the open for everybody to have to face this shit. You have to face what it is that's going on. Gun ownership is important. I am going to continue to open carry a pistol every fucking day. I'm going to continue to openly carry my pistol, my bulletproof vest, and my AR-15 when I do my open carry demonstrations, because it needs to be in the face of the people, because people think that it's weird because nobody sees it. Not enough people see it. When you see it, you don't find it weird. When you understand it, when you do it yourself, you don't find it weird, and then the stigma goes away. I'm trying to defuse that stigma about a lot of things. The police aren't going to shoot me down just because I'm black, and I'm willing to take that risk, that I think that I am right. That's not just going to happen like that. The public will accept you. I'm proving it all the fucking time when I do these open carry demonstrations. Something else that I'm proving all the time is that, like the armed fisherman, I hope you're still in here, man. What I'm proving is that a guy like the armed fisherman doing this same thing down in Florida, where the gun laws are fucked up. They act like Florida is this fucking great state for gun rights. No, the fuck is not. They are still threatening the lives of people trying to do what it is that I'm doing, sticking to the Florida rules, and this man still cannot be left alone, the armed fisherman. They still won't leave this man alone like they're supposed to. The public won't do it. Even the fucking law enforcement, they just will not leave this man alone. The whole time in the same country that we are calling free, I am up here on the corner, I ain't doing no fishing. I don't get these stigmas up here in Iowa that I got to live by, that I can openly carry an AR-15 only if I'm fishing or hunting or some shit like that. They don't say that up here in Iowa. They say rock your shit for whatever fucking reason you can come up with. It doesn't matter. You can openly carry an AR-15 in Iowa for any fucking reason at all. So I am proving that I can get on the corner, get out in public in busy fucking traffic and shit, be respected by law enforcement and even the fucking public, that people will come up to me and give me a fucking hug. Do while I'm doing what? Something that the armed fisherman gets fucking drama for. Almost every time this man goes out, somebody's got something dumb to say. Law enforcement wants to hassle him from time to time about what it is that he's doing. And they got restrictions, man. He is in the guidelines. He's got his AR-15 and a fishing pole, because he has to be fishing or hunting or something in order for him to legally rock an AR-15 out in public in Florida. He does that, and they still fuck with him for what? Cops drive past me. I ain't doing no fishing. I'm on the corner chilling. Cops wave at me. As soon as you see that, then you know that Florida must be in the wrong. I am proving all of these motherfuckers wrong. Any state that will not let you do this, I am proving that when you write it on paper that people need to be left alone so that they can do this, people will do this and nothing bad will happen. I'm proving that shit. So Florida, y'all bugging. Armed fishermen, good work, bro. You is taking, excuse me, you are taking a risk doing what it is that you're doing. That is, it's not completely removed from what it is that I'm doing, because police can always choose at any given time to force an issue. But the fact that it is written on a magic paper that cops have to leave me alone, they actually leave me alone for the most part, and everything always turns out okay. If they change the magic paper, what it says in Florida, then people will leave the armed fisherman alone and he will go about his fucking business and everything will be fine. I'm proving that everything will be fine if you stop writing that bullshit on the fucking paper, because then you hypnotize the public and the people to act a certain way about something that will be fine if they would just shut the fuck up and chill out. It's simple, bruh. If y'all don't know the armed fisherman, go check his channel out. He got some dope shit going on down there in Florida with his open carry demonstrations and shit, and what he does on the beaches of Florida. It's a dope thing. Florida's a beautiful place, but they are ruining paradise with their political bullshit, just like they did California. They trying to do this shit in Florida. Florida has a big tug of war over how to perceive the Second Amendment and the Constitution and all this shit. And where I'm coming from, man, as far as what the fuck I got going on, is that I believe that the Constitution is putting something that's undebatable into an arena of debate, and then everybody's surprised and disappointed when there's a debate going on. I think that's fucking retarded. That's weird. That's why I don't rock with the Constitution. The Constitution is the problem. People want to love the Constitution. I understand why y'all like the Constitution. I get it. But what y'all need to do is, if you're civil enough to want to stand up for the rights of arming yourself against home invasion, of robbery, to protect your kids from child abduction, or to defend your life and your country against a tyrannical government. All of those reasons are valid reasons to own and carry an AR-15 everywhere you go. If you're willing to do that, you have to be smart enough or diligent enough and have your heart in the fight for the rights enough to realize that the Constitution is actually fucking us up, because they're making something debatable that's not even debatable. And then everybody mad when they want to debate the shit. I'm not surprised at all that they debate the shit. We have to get over this intellectual hump. And you support the Constitution, let that lead you to the realization that the Constitution is where the problem's at, because it should have never been there. You put it on the paper, they think that they have a right to debate it after that. So stop letting them do that shit. You got to change all of this by telling them to take it out of the Constitution, remove it, have nothing to attach their legislation to. In what frame of reference are they going to try to curb your gun rights if it's never on their magical paper to be brought in for debate? Tell them to take it off the paper. Tell them to remove it. Get it out of there. It doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong in their arena, because they're going to argue and debate everything there. Motherfuckers trying to act like a musket. So I just seen Armed Fisherman's video this morning. Somebody said to him that the Second Amendment was written about muskets, and if he would have came out there with a musket, then fine. That's stupid. It wasn't written about muskets. It was written to protect, for us to be diligent and aware of our duties to curb the advances of a tyrannical government now and forever. They didn't mean in the time. And if the government and technology can advance past your musket, then you're going to lose the fight. That don't even sound like a genius thing to even try to say. It doesn't sound intelligent at all for these guys that y'all praise so much to actually only mean that and then nothing else. Get the fuck out of here. They didn't mean just the musket. They meant whatever it takes to fucking make whatever fucking government advances can persist in pounding your rights. Whatever you can get your hands on to stop them is fair game. Because the idea is to keep them from doing that, not to keep them from doing that only if the musket is good enough. And once they supersede your musket, now you have effectively lost your right to even stand up to them or anybody else. Unfucking true. It is disingenuous for people to think that this is what the Constitution even meant. And I don't understand why you guys believe that this is what they meant and then you praise these guys. Because if that's what they meant, the founding forefathers weren't even that smart. They were fucking retarded, actually. They set you up, actually. The whole fucking thing has to be a sham if they honestly meant that. And they didn't, because they had semi-automatic and automatic weapons at the time anyway. The pepper gun is one of them. There's one called the box, the something box or the box something. I can't remember what it is. I'm going to look this shit up and I'm going to put it in the video later on. But they had automatic and semi-automatic weapons back then. And they meant all of that shit. Our government actually tried to obtain a lot of these things, but due to the rate of production and how much they cost, they were unable to get a lot of them or enough of them to make them a staple in what it was that the government had going on at the time. But they were aware of them and they did want that shit, and they did mean all of the fucking guns. They meant all of the guns for the entire existence of your fucking government so that you always had the ability, since they thought that it was worthy of putting it in their holy ass constitution. They wanted to be there so that it stick and stand the test of time, you assholes. They didn't consider Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook or nothing, but they always meant that you have a right to say what the fuck it is that you wanted to fucking say. Grow up. You guys are fucking the game up with your ignorance and your childlike behavior about something that's way too serious for you to be playing these fucking games. They meant that shit. Plus, and I'm gonna end on this, I wouldn't give a fuck if the founding forefathers said that niggas will never ever be able to have guns. They will forever be considered less than human. Women cannot vote or speak up or say a goddamn thing about anything ever. Your government does get to rule you with an iron fucking fist. And you all deserve to be driven into slavery or thrown into a mass grave. If the founding forefathers said that, you would go, oh no, they wrong, bruh. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. They're kind of evil. Them being this, having this holy image is not going to work on me. Everything they say is not golden. They are not the standard. My nature is the standard. And my nature says that once I'm here in observation of my life and my consciousness, and I want to protect that shit, whatever I get my hands on to make you stop is fair game. Period. That's what my nature says. I do not need or want them to stick up for me about nothing. The Constitution is a sham. It set us up. It's making debatable something that's undebatable. For 250 years, we've been fighting about this shit. If it's so magical, how come it hasn't worked? Why are we still fighting about it? Why are we still fighting about it? Y'all don't even know. You never asked yourself that. You never asked yourself why we still fighting about this shit. It's so magical, right? Y'all are full of shit. I'm tired of it. We got to be real. Rule number 1 is self-preservation. That's the natural law, natural rule. The first one is self-preservation. All these other this First Amendment of free speech, the Constitution fucked that up by making that first. Nature says first things first. I'm in this bitch. No one touch me. I'm here. No one put a fucking hand on me. Got it? Good. Now I got something to say, because now that I'm here and I'm observing, I object to these things. Who won't smoke about it? That's what happens. You don't say, oh, who won't smoke about all this shit I got to say? No, wait, let me grab my gun. It's the second one. It's the second one. And they only meant for the time that I can, man, get out of here. All that shit sound dumb. If you want to praise the founding forefathers, then you have to give what it is that they said the ultimate power by saying that they meant for the shit that they said about the Second Amendment specifically, they meant for that shit to stand the test of time. It wasn't a temporary fucking right. Y'all praised it for 250 years, but you won't honor it enough to say that they intended For this to span the test of time by including whatever innovations in weaponry that would ever show up on the fucking earth, that it will always be true that you have a right to defend your natural life against anybody, foreign or domestic, trying to fuck with your shit, your freedom, or your life. Period. That's how you give these magical words all of the power that was intended. Otherwise, stop praising them so much. If they meant that to be a temporary thing that had an expiration date, where's the expiration date? Where is it? Y'all tweaking, bruh. You know what the fucking pepper gun is? Go look it up. The fucking thing spits fire, bruh. Rapidly. They intended for all of that to be the case. The fucking cannons, the fucking battleships, all that shit. How the fuck else could it, why the fuck would it ever matter if the founding forefather said, you have a right to stand your ground and fight off a tyrannical government, but the government gets to say so on if you can fight them off of your asses or not. They wouldn't write the shit to say you have a right to do this and then say, oh, but all of the power is in the hands of the people you might have to fight. Does it sound like that makes any sense? Like, I'm confused, bro. I'll be like, I'll be in so much awe when I'm trying to digest what the fuck it is that people got going on with this Constitution and how they are perceiving this shit, that it makes me feel like I'm watching a bunch of kids argue over a whole bunch of as kids, and I'm the only adult in argument trying to explain to these kids that there is no argument to be had. And they want to lock in on their talking points and their position about the fucking argument. I'm going, there is no argument. These founding forefathers cannot be praised for being so fucking awesome if people think that they really intended to say you can fight the government off, but only if the government will allow you, which you could not expect. If they wanted to fight you, they would take your guns first so that you couldn't fight them. It looked like they're trying to take the guns right now. Why? Because I think they want to fight you. The Constitution isn't a fucking source of my rights at all. It's a fucking checklist to let you know when it's fucking go time. When these things start being challenged successfully by a government, just know they are preparing to shut you the fuck up and fight you. Stop the bullshit. You damn right, man. Bohydras, there is no argument or debate, man. If they put into the Constitution or on some legal paper and legislation that a man, since the world is overpopulated, is what they say, overpopulation, if they said, and they wanted to add to this abortion debate, and they said, men, after you have 4 kids, you cannot have any more. We will force you into a vasectomy after 4 kids. No man can have any more than 4 kids. You can't have any more than 2 baby mamas. After that, we get involved. This is my natural process of me making life, creating life. I get to choose how I do that. And it doesn't matter if they believe the world is in a desperate state of overpopulation and that I'm harming the earth by having another child. They won't even debate that when talking to men about their reproductive organs and shit, because at no point has this made it onto the magical paper to make it debatable. If they made it somehow onto paper that this was going to be a topic of discussion, that they were going to hear this and have a trial and hear this and try to move forward into the process of making these different things, laws and shit like that, once it made it, there's something that is not being debated right now will become debatable, even if it gets no traction, even if it goes nowhere, even if it doesn't force not a single man into a doctor's office to get a vasectomy on the grounds that 4 kids is enough, 5 kids is too many, and now you can be forced to do this for the sake of saving the future of the planet because the world is overpopulated. Bro, they are never going to do that. If it makes it to the paper, it's going to make it debatable. Look how ridiculous it sounds that they would do this, but then you know for an absolute fact, if somebody wrote it on paper, that will inevitably be a ticket for them to bring it into a fucking court of law and talk about it. Even if it goes nowhere, once it makes it onto the magical paper, they will debate that shit as if it was up to them. If it made it on the magical paper that 4 kids is enough and 5 is too many, if it made it there, they would debate it, bro. Y'all have to find that weird. Y'all got to stop, like, y'all don't got no imagination, man. You don't have enough imagination to place these things into a spotlight that it deserves so that you can see what it is that you're actually dealing with. But that's okay though. I told a lie for y'all. Y'all don't understand shit about this gun shit. I do it. I talk that shit. Yeah, negotiating with terrorists is ridiculousness because they only negotiate to save face. They negotiate to buy themselves time so they can work their way into your lives where you cannot defy them anymore. They doing all this bullshit talking about another pandemic, all this other shit. The grid might go down. Who knows? The grid is very fragile and vulnerable. We got aliens on the planet and we are embarking on advancing towards a third world conflict that is moving faster than what people think it is. Go look into that shit. And I'm going to do some more videos about this third world conflict and all the shit that's going on between China, Russia, Ukraine, and a few other countries. BRICS got their shit going on. The shit is crazy. We're going to talk about that more. But when you look at all of these things that they have going on, what you have to know is, in order for them to achieve all of the things that they are saying out loud that they are admitting to wanting, you have to know they cannot get that unless they shut you up and take that gun. And thus, you have to oppose them when they try to shut you up and take the gun. So talk all your shit and bring a gun with you. Period. That's exactly what it is that I do. RPM Trey Vietnam in this bitch. Who don't fucking understand me? I'm bugging? Nah, you bugging. You bugging, bro. Get a fucking gun, goofy.